Starting with some breaking news coming in, Republic TV has accessed pictures of a Malaysian minister who hosted a dinner for the hate preacher. He hosted a dinner for Zakir Naik. This comes amidst calls for Naik's deportation across Malaysia and his grilling by the Malaysian police. In fact, Malaysian activists and leaders have criticized the meeting. But that's the latest. This Malaysian minister, hosted a dinner for hate preacher Zakir Naik, and those are the visuals from the dinner. That's where the Malaysian minister can be seen eating dinner with the hate preacher at a time when various ministers, various leaders have come out, called for his deportation. At that kind of a time, we have this Malaysian minister hosting a dinner for the hate preacher. In fact, just a short while back, we broke out the news update related to the Home Minister, the Malaysian Home Minister, who also came out with a warning for Zakir Naik. And this being the latest, Analesh is joining us to bring in more details as far as this news break is concerned. Analesh, it does look like there is a political divide now as far as the call for Zakir Naik's deportation is concerned. Analesh, don't you think so?
Certainly, yes. I mean, there is a clear divide emerging now within the cabinet of Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, where one minister is hosting a party for him and saying, quote unquote, let's move on. He has written on his Instagram that we all make mistakes in our lives, and you know, we are all sort of prone to making mistakes, but given an opportunity, if we apologize, we should be allowed to move on. But we should not forget the fact that his very own statement after he has hosted this party for Zakir Naik is garnering a huge amount of flack on social media. Supporters of the community, Hindus and Chinese community, have actually raised their voice on social media, and he is actually under a lot of trouble. There is a flood of tweets and messages on Instagram which is against Syed Sadiq, the Youth and Sports Minister. They are saying that this U-turn on the issue of Zakir Naik will not only not go down well with the community living there, but also it will be a trouble for his own constituency and moreover for his party, because the people of Malaysia have not sort of forgiven him. That is the argument we see on social media. As far as the ministers, the other ministers or his colleagues are concerned, we understand that none of the ministers are sort of standing with what Syed Sadiq has done at this point of time. We are understanding that the ministers are still under the impression that maintaining Zakir Naik's presence in the country is probably not in the best interest of the society or of the party itself. What we also understand is Syed Sadiq is isolated on the matter, and he has been trying to approach other ministers to say that, okay, whatever happens has happened, the person has apologized, come forward, said sorry, and we should move on. But this stand remains firm as far as the other ministers are concerned, that he is under an investigation at this point of time. The probe is on, and before the investigation is concluded, there is no point making a decision like this. So this entire sort of stand taken by this minister is nothing but an example of, I would say, naivety. One classic rebut that he has got on social media is worth sharing. One Malaysian NGO activist has written on social media directing his anger to Syed Sadiq, saying that you should learn from what is written in Mahabharata, that if an individual is bad for the family, then that individual has to be shunned. And similarly, if the family is bad for the village, the family has to be shunned. And taking on, if the village is bad for the country, then the village has to be abandoned. And similarly, if the presence of Zakir Naik is dangerous or detrimental to the harmony of Malaysians, then we no longer should stand with him in unity. And that is what we are seeing at this point of time. So the sources are telling us, very crucial here, none of the ministers have actually caved in to the political pressures at all. Yes, we should not forget the fact that Zakir Naik is an influential preacher, and he has a huge amount of fan following there, I would say. But at the same time, what he has said is certainly putting him under spot, and this is not going to solve any soon. As far as permanent residency is concerned,
right.
It will be a matter of
investigation. The fact remains that the apology this minister is talking about, was also such a face saver in the first place. It only came out after, you know, the amount of pressure that was really mounting on Zakir Naik. It was a face saver for sure. And, you know, he went on to say that He really did not mean to hurt the sentiments of anyone. He really didn't intend to make any kind of racial comments. So that's the kind of apology this minister here is quoting while he hosts him for dinner. But for the moment, Anilesh, thank you for joining us with all those details.